companies look at in prospective employees? I think the first thing we look at is drive and energy, is the attitude. We don't necessarily expect you to have all the skills or the wherewithal, but we expect you to be keen to learn, willing to stretch the extra mile, demonstrate a can-do attitude. The other thing is a focus and emphasis on challenging the status quo, looking at driving innovation, doing things differently. So today, I think where we see a difference in generation is, of course, I'm now moving into a part where I'm a part of the previous generation as compared to the next one. But I think what really made a difference when I was a student, maybe about 23 years back, is the information of knowledge. I mean, the availability of knowledge. When we started as students, or rather when we passed out as students, we didn't have internet with us. We didn't have mobile phones with us. If we needed information, we had to go to a chamber of commerce to acquire that information. So there were very few platforms which were available for information. We had to continuously read business magazines. So if I wanted to attend an interview, I remember when I used to attend an interview during our campus time, we used to make the effort to go to chambers of commerce and try to get as much of history about the company, the balance sheet of the company, what does the company do, who are their customers, how is their business, what is their business model all about, how many people do they employ, what are some of their best practices, etc. But believe me, it wasn't easy getting that information. Today, it's all available at a click of a button. And that's what differentiates the current generation from maybe a generation which was about 2 decades older. So it's the availability of information. But I think since you have a lot of information available, it's the application of information to a job which really decides success. So we definitely look at people, and when we interview people, we ask them, the first question we ask them is that what do you know about our company? And a person who comes in without really knowing why are they there for the interview doesn't really impress us. It means a person really hasn't done their homework or is taking the interview a little casually. So that's one thing which a person should do, is research the company which you're joining, find out what do they do, the products which they have, the market share which they have, their business plan or growth plans which they have. And definitely for those who are, let's say, management graduates here, I'm given to understand that you have a few management graduates in the room here. Okay, how many of you are here who are management graduates? Or about to be graduate in management? Okay, so relatively very few. But even then, I would suggest is read a lot about the company. Try to get as much information about the company. A lot of companies today put up the information on the website. Try to find out what is their core values of the company. Try to find out what the culture of the organization is. So the more armed with you, the more armed you are with information about the company, number one, you can make a right decision for yourself. And second is, you are able to impress the person who's interviewing you. And that differentiates you from the others who come not so well prepared. The other thing which a lot of interviews will commonly ask you questions is, why would you like to join the company? So giving them very clear answers, not necessarily rehearsed answers or artificial answers, but very clear answers, what attracts you to the company, also gives you a very strong head start there. So that's what companies really look at when you're hiring fresh graduates on the job. We also look at people having some sort of a career roadmap with them. See, I remember when we were being interviewed a couple of decades back, people asked us, what is your long-term career path? They expected you to have a 10, 15, 20-year career path here. Today's world has changed, so that expectation no longer exists in corporates or organizations. But definitely for you to have an oversight that, yes, this is where my career is going to lead to. Do I want to remain as a specialist? If I'm an engineer, do I want to continue in the engineering path, or would I want to move into general management at a later stage? So that level of high-level clarity is something which people do look for when you're hiring graduates, and especially engineering graduates or management graduates.